And the case study number 3 shows another example of how the structure was resolved. In this case, though, you see only one proton spectrum with no deuterium exchange. Although deuterium exchange was done, we found there was no exchange for the reasons which we'll discuss later. Both carbon spectrum and DEPT spectrum gives us necessary information to move forward and analyze HSQC data. From HSQC data, we can correlate certain carbons to certain protons. And for instance, here we see two types of protons. They correlate to the same carbon, which shows that basically this carbon and these two protons are a methylene group. So exactly the same information we have from DEPT-135 spectrum. It shows us that we can solely use HSQC data for this purpose as well. When we finish analysis of HSQC data, we have the table field which shows that again NMR data seemingly missing two protons. And when we look closely at the possibilities at the molecular formula, because of the number of heteroatoms here, we can conclude that possibly those missing hydrogens are also exchangeable, but the natural exchange is so fast that they're not observable, and that's why they cannot be detected by deuterium exchange as well. From the COSY data, we find 2-3 bond HH correlation. We can clearly see how the atoms are connected, separated by 2 or 3 bonds. And in the particular column, we can write down that proton 1 is correlated to 2, 4 to 5 and 6, 5 and 6, they correlate to 4, 6, and 4 and 5 correspondingly. Moving forward, we can construct those spin systems. Spin system of protons 1 and 2, which is part of the pyridine ring. And the pyridine ring, again, because we know that the starting material had a pyridine ring, we have this conclusion and use it to reconstruct our fragment structure. More complicated is 4, 5, and 6 spin system, but it still gives us a relatively simple fragment structure. Now we'll start adding quaternary atoms and also heteroatoms, which is either oxygen or nitrogen, because we have some open valences on our fragments which needs to be saturated. So our spin system table is now expanded, and we have several other fragments which actually represent the bits and pieces of this molecule. So now in order to connect those bits and pieces, we have to analyze HMBC spectrum. We can see the correlations of the carbons and protons here very clearly. There's not so many signals. And at the end, we fill the column in the table showing the correlations of the certain proton to the certain carbons. So this analysis adds several quaternary carbons to the fragment structures. And again, we can see that carbon A participates in 2 spin systems, 1 and 2, and it's exactly the same atom, which is the first point of connection. Carbon C is present also in 1 and 3, and so on. So we have now lots of additional information just from HMBC spectra, which allow us to build those bridges to connect the fragment structures and finally to build the molecule. So when we connect whatever needs to be connected, we can see that we have 2 possible structures, because just solely based on NMR data, it's hard to distinguish the exact composition of the molecule. So we have structure which we named K and L, and we use simple calculations to rule out structure K, which has a large deviation, especially for the proton 6, compared to the structure L, which is our final compound. So this compound structure is presented here. So these 3 case studies, using relatively simple workflow, we can elucidate the structure and understand what impurities are built during the process.